Hi everyone, on this video I'm gonna show you how to use your grandpa's camera, which basically looks like this. Yeah, this is the Kodak 620 model 31. Let's check this out. Usually when people come to me with a camera like this, the first question is, how do you open it up? Well, just have a look at the camera. You'll see that there are some buttons, so you press here, nothing happens, nothing. Oh yeah, that's how we open it up. There we go. But no, it's not fully opened. You have to push it until it clicks in place. I've seen too many people trying to use their camera like this. It's not fully open. Now it is. It clicked in place, revealing the bellows and the lens and shutter assembly. Then have a look at this one. And there we are, the Kodak shutter and the lens. Kodak and Astigmat by Ingenieur. Ingenieur is a French lens manufacturer. They're still in business today and they produce high-end cinema lenses. It's a maximum aperture of 4.5 and a focal length of 100mm. This is your shutter speed selector, as you can see, 1/10, 1/100, and everything in between. This is a full set of shutter speed from 1/250 to the second, meaning that the camera was some kind of an upmarket thingy back in the day. On the bottom you'll find your aperture setting, like this, f8, and it's written on the top too. So you have two ways to tell the aperture, by looking at the bottom or the top of the lens. And on the left hand side you'll find the cocking lever. Yes, because if I do this, nothing's gonna happen. We need to activate the shutter before we take the photo. And there we go. The shutter opens for, well, roughly around 1 second, meaning that the shutter is still pretty accurate. Let me show you on this other lens and shutter assembly. Everything needs to be snappy, just like that. If the shutter looks sluggish or sticky, it means that the camera has a problem and you won't get good exposure, so it may not be worth trying to use it. But if everything is snappy, just like this one, well, you can make sure that everything is gonna be fine. One thing I need to say, if you try to activate the shutter and you want to change shutter speed, it's a big no-no. You may damage the shutter. So what you want to do is to fire the shutter and now change the shutter speed. So 1/50, and as you can see, it's more snappy. And last but not least, well, not at least at all, is the focusing. You achieve focusing by turning this front element. As you can see, you get infinity, 12 meters, 8 meters, 6 meters, and so on. How do you know the focusing distance? Well, you guesstimate it. You're just like, hey, this subject is around 3 meters away from me. Okay, this is 3 meters, and pray that everything is gonna be in focus. While I was trying this camera, I managed to nail the focus on this picture and messed it up completely on this other one. So it's hit or miss. So yes, you basically have to guesstimate the focusing distance and the exposure parameters like shutter speed and aperture, because there's no light meter on this. You can use a handheld light meter or simply use the Sony f16 rule. By using black and white and even color negative, you know, they have some exposure latitude, so you can be off quite a bit and it's not gonna be an issue on your pictures. Now let's talk about the film. To open it up, you simply push this lever off and there we go. Look at that. This is the size of your actual negative. This specific camera uses 620 film, which is not manufactured anymore, but there's a workaround. I'll tell you everything you need to know on the end of this video. Some others, they use 120 film, which is still being sold in any decent photography shop, so it's not going to be an issue. This camera will produce negatives this size, 6 centimeters by 9 centimeters. This was roughly the size of old photos like these, and they were the same size on the negative because they were contacts. This, on the other hand, was an enlargement. It's a slightly bigger photo, and look at that. When I scanned it, it was clear that this kind of camera was capable of producing very detailed images. That is probably because, well, first, there's a good lens, and also the film is really big, so the enlargement ratio is not that important, so you could get away with some issues. It would not appear on the print. So now, let's use this camera. Let's open it up. There we go. Click it in place. And let's imagine we are outside It's sunny, broad daylight. I'm using a 100 ISO film, so I'm gonna set the shutter speed to 1/100. There we go. Since we are in broad daylight, according to the Sunny f16 rule, I'm gonna use an aperture of f16. Okay, there we go. So the exposure is set. Now let's talk about the focusing distance. I'm around 6 meters away from Nessie over there, so I'm gonna set it to 6. Okay, let's activate the shutter, and we're gonna look through this small viewfinder. The viewfinder is, well, relatively inaccurate. So don't use this like you would use an SLR for framing and composition. Otherwise you may end up like this, cutting someone's feet. So there we go, okay. There we are. Now I'm sliding the small window protector here, and I'm winding the film until the next frame. And I can do it again. And again. Well, this time I was closer, so let's say I was at around 2 meters. Okay, let's activate the shutter, being very careful. And there we go. Once you're done taking your photos, you have to locate this. It's a lever, and there we go. It folds back into the case, and there it is. Not bigger than a modern day smartphone, although a little bit thicker. It could easily fit into the pocket of your vest. That's why Kodak called one of them the vest pocket, because it fit in the vest pocket. That's logical. 620 film is not being manufactured nowadays. But what you can do is you can get yourself an empty spool like this and re-spool 120 film onto a 620 spool, because they don't fit. You see, the spools are slightly different, but the films are exactly the same. It's cumbersome, it's not that easy to do, and you need 2 empty spools of 620 film. If you don't, the Film Photography Project sells a ready-made film and even empty spools to roll your own. These cameras back in the day, they were not professional equipment, but they were like high quality for Mr. Everyday, and they allowed a lot of people to acquire some photographic equipment to take pictures of their family and loved ones to keep them for years and years to come. So yeah, they deserve to be considered as important cameras in the history of camera equipment. Plus, they are not that difficult to use after all, and pretty fun. I'm not gonna make it my main camera nowadays, but from time to time, using one like this, well, it's pretty cool, and yeah, I should recommend you to use one. So I hope this video helped you if you find your granddad's camera in the attic. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you want to. See you soon. Goodbye.